Decided like, yo, let's just meet up with your parents in person. I called the mother, and when I called her, I asked her, hey, when is the next time you're gonna be here? And she said April 1st. So I was like, well, is there any time you could come earlier than April 1st? She was like, well, let me check up on that. And I was like, okay, well, just keep me updated. To me, I was like, well, if you're really concerned about your daughter, wouldn't you drop everything to come meet with her to talk? Whatever. On a Wednesday, 2022, and the reason why, because we just want to shut down all the lies, talking about we don't talk to our families, not true, but we just don't like talking to Miranda's parents or the relatives.
It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Last week we told you about how there is this group of dancers, 7M, and well, they're managed by a company called 7M Films that's connected to a church called Shekinah Church, which is located in Los Angeles. The group is run by a pastor named Robert Israel Shin, who has a history of being a little bit, he's got his questionable behaviors. And there's been in the spotlight a sort of, I don't know, family dispute that the group would like people to focus on between one of the families that are involved with the daughter that's in the group. So Miranda Wilking, or Miranda Derrick, has been a part of 7M for over a year now, and her family has been concerned about her. Last week I told you how Miranda met with her parents, and she posted that, you know, she wasn't going to say anything more. Everything was going to be great. She was going to keep the details of that private, and everything was sort of calm and quiet. But immediately people were like, okay, this still doesn't feel right. They're pretending like nothing happened. Yes, they met with her parents, but is this really what is it? And so her parents were quiet following everything that happened. And they didn't say anything publicly until Friday night when her mother posted this on her Instagram, which says, for 24 years, Miranda was always known to be the most loving, kind, thoughtful, compassionate, smart, and sweet girl who has always made people feel special. If anybody asked Miranda what was the most important thing to her, she would most definitely say her family. It would never be fame or fortune. It would always be family. On July 21st, 2021, things took a drastic turn and she cut off all ties with everyone in her life who cared and loved her. It didn't take long for her family and friends and social media fans to figure out something was very, very wrong. As a family, we tried desperately to figure out what was happening while also trying very hard to respect her privacy and dignity. We never lost hope that she would return. However, when over a year passes and you feel you've tried every way you can think of to get answers and to communicate, and every one of those attempts fail, you have no choice but to go back to that pivotal moment in time in Miranda's life when something changed. There was no doubt that the change in Miranda was due to a certain group of people who entered her life. It is unknown what kind of influence she used to change our beautiful what kind of influence they used to change our beautiful daughter's personality and completely around. But it happened, and it has left all of her loved ones terrified and confused. We know our daughter is in there somewhere, and we know deep down she loves her family still. I know we are not perfect, but there is no reason for us to not be able to see or talk with our daughter. I hope that one day she will find the strength within her heart to recognize the truth, who she needs and trusts. Anyone who knows us knows that we have nothing to hide. There's no need for us to be defensive. We were so hopeful when James reached out to us to coordinate a meeting here in Michigan, but sadly, very little progress was made. It didn't take long before we discovered the hidden agenda behind the meeting. We can report that as of today, we have yet to get a call from Miranda. We will never stop fighting for our daughter. She is absolutely the most beautiful human being in the world, and she's worth fighting for. I have faith that good will always prevail and family will always be first, and the truth will be told. They met last week, and she says there's an ulterior motive. Well, then Miranda responded and said that the ulterior motive was that Kelly was teaming up with me, and that because of her relationship with me, somehow that was interfering in their family. which I don't have a relationship per se with the family other than I have DM'd a couple times with them, and I've just been finding out more information about Robert Shin. Now, Miranda and James have been they've put out multiple videos right now to claim that they haven't cut off contact. James put out a video that said, accusing them of calling the police on them. James also recorded them going to Michigan. It was a very weird video.
You lied to the police and told them that this kidnapping, and that's what happened. It's a statement. Do we need to pull up a statement? Dean just can't call the cops and be like, hey, my daughter's not coming home. Can you go check on her? They're gonna be like, so, and can you give me more? So they had to come up with something. They got a private investigator to spy on us. They went live on IG and TikTok to the public and got strangers involved and to turn people against us. Not cool.
They're not upset, but they're definitely concerned. My understanding of this is that I guess you were supposed to go to Michigan today?
Yes. So my grandfather passed away not too long ago, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And his funeral is this coming up week, and I just chose not to go home just out of my own grieving purposes, and they're not taking it very well at all, and they're kind of flipping out. So I'm so sorry. I am totally fine.
Okay. So we're like about 9/10 the way of making you a missing person. Is there any possibility we can come meet you and just make sure you're okay and everything's all right?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Cut off contact. James put out a video that said, accusing them of calling the police on them. James also recorded them going to Michigan. It was a very weird video. And then Miranda then responded by basically saying that she did speak to her family, although it's changed in the amount that she's spoken to them. But the truth is that she hasn't responded, or they haven't responded to any questions about a lot of the allegations that have come out about the church. So in some of my research, which, by the way, we finally found a photograph of the guy that's running the church, whose name is Robert Israel Shin. He has been accused in the past of running a cult. And in a lawsuit that was filed in 2009, which he won on a technicality due to the First Amendment, as well as to statute of limitations, he was accused by his former members of telling them to cut off contact with people that don't agree with him. So in a lawsuit between Lydia Chung and Robert Shin, she said this: in 1999, pursuant to advice, counsel, and strong encouragement, Shin and Chung became permanently separated from her ex-husband and filed for divorce proceedings. Chung's husband did not like Shekinah Church, and Chung told Shin about her ex-husband's dislike of Shekinah Church. In response, Shin told Chung that she must get away from her husband because he was influenced by a demon. The divorce was finalized in 2000. Told her, your husband is influenced by a demon, and she gets the divorce. She also said this: in or about the year 2000, Shin began referring to himself as the man of God, while Yi was referring to herself as the woman of God. The congregation was also told to cut all ties with family and friends, and Shin and Yi placed male and female members in 2 houses, separated by sex, and told them other members would become their family now. She relied on Shin and Yi's advice and representation and did in fact cut all ties of family and friends during this time. And he became her mentor. There was a deposition, obviously done as a part of this case, where Robert made several admissions, which included that he was transferring money in between a lot of different companies. It appears as though he would start one company and then he would send money from these and then take out his income through these. And then it almost looked like money laundering, although I can't say that it is because there's no criminal charges. It seemed like he was using donations from the church and then paying himself through these companies as a way to use the donations as income. If, let's be honest, that's what it said in the court records. This isn't not the first time that they've been accused of doing this. According to sworn depositions, he asked and encouraged members, including Mrs. Chung, to donate money to the church. Mr. Shin testified, according to his review of the church records, she had donated between $16,000 to $20,000. but the church received around $4.7 million in donation, which was given by her trust. So, and he admitted that that was the amount of donations that he had received, over $4.7 million, a lot of that coming from Lydia's trust fund. There was receipts showing that at one day in a 3-day period, he received $300 and some thousand from members as gifts. So it was evidenced in this case that he wasn't denying what was being said. He was just saying that it was because of him being a man of God. On his own website, he tells people to, dedicate all their time, their money, and their resources and their effort to him. And he says that, you cannot be with him, like you should get rid of all of your distractions and be 100% committed to the ministry. But the ministry itself doesn't seem to have a forward face. In 2021, they sat down the Shekinah church sat down with their neighborhood council to explain what the church was doing. They described their church as doing online ministry, but they still don't have like an online presence as a church. So they claimed that they needed this church setting on this particular property to produce the ministry content, edit it, and put it out online. Shekinah Church's website has a password where you have to get into it, and it's like bare bones. So there's a lot of questions here, and there's been a ton of back and forth going on between Miranda and her parents. Not that it's a bad thing, but it seems like Miranda and her husband James don't want to talk about a lot of the allegations about Shin or these lawsuits or, other dealings, or they don't want to talk about the control, the aspects. And then there's this whole question about all these different dealings with real estate companies, with the LA Clippers, with all these different brands that they're working with. What does Ellen know? Because Ellen DeGeneres has been featuring them prominently on the show, although not so much lately. But there's been, which to a degree I was told that Ellen and Twitch had nothing to do with this. But long story short, there's a lot of diversion happening online right now. So Robert Shin is getting exposed, and rather than 7M as a management company defending it or saying this is not true, instead they're creating fake accounts to go after anyone that detracts them, and it's making them look even more like they're a cult. At the end of the day, she is an adult. She can do what she wants, but if there is somebody influencing her to do things, she has no control of her life. The money is being paid to Robert Shin. There's fear being put into her that she must actually do this or she's going to be cursed, which is something that Robert Shin has admitted, that he curses people if they don't give him money and if they don't follow his rules and if they don't submit to him. And for anyone that's questioning if this is actually a cult, someone actually reached out to me who knows B-Dash, Tight-Eyes, and Concrete, and they told me that one of their friends was being recruited to get into this group. This guy's name is Joey. He has a Instagram handle, and he said I could share this, so I'm just going to share this. He said, I just got some inside information from someone they're trying to recruit for 7M. They told me that he has to die to his family and everything, distracting him. They promised him money and success in exchange for leaving his family. He was told that if he tried to do things on his own, he would be cursed. So going to people that are wanting fame, opportunities, telling them, if you get rid of the distractions, get rid of your family, we're good. And you'll have all kinds of success with us. So they're promising fame and money. And then they're saying, die to yourself, die to your past life, and come with us. Now, not everyone else is actually getting cut off. Not everyone else is being told to cut off. It's mostly people that are not in agreement with Shin. So if you agree with Shin, he's not going to tell you to cut off your family, but your communication might be limited. At the end of the day, why does this story matter? Well, this is a cult that's operating in the bright lights of Hollywood, which isn't new. Scientology's done this. Plenty of other groups have done this. Heck, have you watched The Secrets of Playboy? It's almost like Hugh Hefner and his friends were a cult without any religion. They're doing brand deals, and they're actively recruiting dancers. And people actively getting brought in to collab with them are at risk of being lured into a situation where people are not safe. that might receive threats. They might be scared into silence. There's no way to know if the way that Miranda speaks now is so different than how she spoke then. So the change in personality here is also very indicative of someone that's been in a cult. But it's not about Miranda. It's about so much more. It's about his history, the way that other people have spoken out about him, the court filings, the different members, past members that have spoken out and said, yes, this is a cult, the people that have been recruited that are saying, this is what they're offering, this is what they're telling me, if I miss one session, I can't go. And then using the media in a really deceptive way to lure people into their group so that basically the cult can make money off of them. Is that being honest? Yes, every person has free will, but is it free will when you're being coerced and manipulated? Is it free will when you're not safe, or if leaving puts your life at risk, or makes your family's lives, might put your family's lives at risk, or you might be indebted to them? What if there were serious crimes happening that we haven't even uncovered? These are the questions that we're going to keep continuing to look for and find. For now, all this other stuff is kind of just distractions. But if you have more tips or information for me, make sure that you reach out to me on Instagram or on Facebook, and I will continue my search. Bye, guys.